I'll tell you how we're going to do it and what we need to do. Well, hello, my name is Jess Aakre. I'm an American. I live up in Montana. Montana for years has had a different point of view than everybody else. They pulled shit on everybody. What I mean by that, we have politicians that say that my rights are not better than your rights. What about the First Amendment that protects all the people of this country? You know, I got the freedom to say what I want to say and be what I want to be. But you go into a homeless shelter, like I have been in many parts of the country, you're not a person, just a number. It's all about money, folks. He has it. Doesn't matter what you do or what you have. It's all about money. It's bullshit. Our Congress and our senators and our people up there are not listening to the people. You know what's wrong with the homeless in this country is that they don't have a home. They could make little portable homes, small, and make it in all cities and make people, hey, you've got to have a home to go to. But we're going to let illegals come in this country? And for what? For them to tell us how to run our country? We got them thousands and thousands of them at the borders, and they want our jobs. They want our country. They don't care about me or you or anybody else. It's all about them. It's all about what Joe Biden believes. All about what Donald Trump believes. What about what the American people believe? You know, we're giving billions and billions of dollars over to Ukraine for war. And there's just Bitcoin thing that nobody wants to talk about. All this money's got to go somewhere. Why can't it go back to giving us some stimulus checks? Making it easier in our economy. Bring our fuel down. Bring our people back to not just greatness, but overwhelming greatness. Donald Trump tried to do something and he said, make America great again. Believe in something. People don't want to believe that shit anymore because they don't see how great it is. They caught him in lies. But every politician lies. It just matters if they get caught. You lie to Congress and you're prosecuted. They bring you before Congress and they say, oh, we're doing our job, we're doing our job. No, they're not. Because if they were, we wouldn't have inflation. We'd be putting Americans first. This is America and I'm pissed off. Canada? Take the guns from Canadians, huh? That's real cute. How come we can't have an armed rally? Patriots to arms. And everybody starts showing up at all these places armed then, and then you'll see how fucking funny it is. This is just a little fucking preview of September 6th. People are tired of the bullshit. They're tired of a no-do Congress. We, the people, first. Everybody says, oh, that's a bad idea. They want to ban what we put out there. I have the right to the First Amendment. The freedom of speech to give me my opinion out there. I'm not protesting violence. I'm not saying be violent. I'm saying fight back for what's yours. This is Montana. This is not everybody else. Just like the people in Alaska. That's Alaska. This is Idaho. This is the whole country. Everybody's different in their countries. But one thing should all be the same is the law of the land is for everybody. And for people to sit up there and say, well, this shouldn't count and that shouldn't count. You know, when people do wrong, they do wrong. Oh, I'm scared. I don't want to admit that I did something wrong. When does Joe Biden ever come out and say, hey, we're going to put Americans first. We're going to do what's right. He hasn't. Has Donald Trump done what's right? He hasn't. What does it take for people to do what's right, to be held accountable? Where's the stimulus checks at? Where's the things to help the poor people? I may not be a rich man. I may not have what everybody thinks is great. But I live up here in a peaceful place called Montana. And I'm tired of the bullshit. I'm tired of people wanting to bring their ways up to here and try to tell us all Montanans how we can't live this and we can't do that. They had a big debate up here. People wanted to have horses to go out there and hunt, but they didn't want people running around on their four-wheelers scaring their horses, tearing up federal lands. So they said no more. Wait a minute. Do these people that own the four-wheelers, do they pay taxes just like the guy on the horse pays taxes? You damn rights they do. If it's public lands, they're allowed to do whatever the hell they want because it belongs to us. What the hell's wrong with people? Everywhere you go, people pay into all this shit and then we're not allowed to use it the way we see fit? Why? Can't use an animal to go, can't use a four-wheeler to go down and get your animal out in a lot of places. So a lot of people say, fuck no, I don't want to hunt no more. Why should anybody have to hurt themselves to go get animals? We use these animals to feed ourselves. Have for generation after generation after generation after generation. Just like in Alaska, just like any other place. But what is wrong with our country? Mass shootings every week. Somebody does some mass shooting thing. Give up your rights. Give up your guns. Excuse me. NRA people, wake up. Armed rally. That's what it takes to wake people up. Joe Biden doesn't want you to have freedom. Donald Trump, he says, oh yeah, I'll support the NRA a little bit. What has happened? I'll tell you what's happened. We've had people that are overgrown, little fucking minions running around thinking, well, I could do whatever the hell I want in the country, and if you shoot somebody, oh well. That's somebody's life, that's somebody's family, that's somebody's mother, that's somebody's daughter. I'm a gun owner. Doesn't mean I gotta go out and do that shit. But I'm tired of seeing people made into victims over it. Again and again and again. And nobody's doing shit. You think taking the guns are going to stop it? You know what? They did that in Hitler's day. They took all the people, disarmed them, and said, here. What did they do? They killed thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people because they know they're not going to go along with this shit. Let's have some backbone and say no to Mr. Trudeau. No to no more gun violence. You know how you stop gun violence? You do this, we publicly execute you. After mass executions of a few thousand people in prisons and empty the prisons out. You want to be a serial killer? Fine. We're going to mass execute you. We're going to take you up, line you up, and we're going to hang you, and we're going to have a fucking party about it. I don't feel sorry for these people, man. They kill innocent people for what? And what does the innocent people get for the rest of their life? Something missing out of their lives. School shootings. How many more shootings do you think we can have before we have to do something serious? Take away my rights? Take away the ammunition? You know what we all feel for them families. I love my guns, but why should I have to give up my rights because somebody else is stupid? Why doesn't the NRA and everybody else say armed protest and end this shit once and for all? Joe Biden doesn't listen. He hasn't listened as soon as he got in office. Everybody knew that, well, we're going to change this because we don't know about firearms. All these dumb sons of bitches up at Congress don't know what a firearm does. Everybody knows. It's meant for one purpose. It's meant to protect your life, your liberty, your freedom, and it's who we are. You know, I'm ashamed. If we can't do any better than this and get the people armed up and have rallies in this country and start saying these are the problems. What's wrong with building small little shelters for the homeless people so they can have a place to live? So they can have a job. You know, when every time you go into a homeless shelter, all they want to do is say, oh, well, you need religion. Oh, you need Jesus. Oh, you need this. Oh, you need that. How many times do you think I've heard that? And what are them people doing behind the homeless shelters? And they're not being taxed. They're saying, let's just take the money from the state and push that on them. People don't want to hear that shit. People want to hear, hey, I got a place to live tonight for a little while. Cut me a little slack. People want to feel, hey, I have a right to be safe, and you're not safe. You think the American streets are safe for people to walk around? If they were, they wouldn't have so many killings up in Seattle, L.A., Denver. Big-ass cities I lived in, and I seen people shot every day. What did anybody do? They said, oh, well. And it's sad. Doesn't have to be that way, though, because what we should do is say, you do this, we're going to start making not just weapon zones, but we're going to make it to where if you do this, we execute you. No more saying, hey, life sentences, because that doesn't really deter people. Unless they got to work for their freedom. And a life sentence should be 10 years of hard physical labor. You sign your rights away when you go in there. We've made everything soft. Oh, it's okay. Really, them are lives. And what about the families? How do you think they feel for the rest of their life? Everybody says, well, it's the person doing this. Oh, it's the person doing that. Oh, it takes great courage to use a firearm. No, it doesn't. You just pull the trigger. It's sad. But people that know firearms know that they have to have them to save their lives. But we got a Congress that doesn't listen to the people. And patriots should become the arms and start saying, hey, we need a mass revolution in this country to stop this bullshit. Why are we helping Ukraine when they won't even help us? I don't see them sending us any food or money or doing anything for us, but we're supposed to be the world's police? People have given everything they got to this country to be the world's police. And how many American lives do you think that's going to cost? What's wrong with people? I could tell you what's wrong. Not enough accountability. When you go to buy a firearm, they tell you, here's a form, just fill it out and you can get a firearm in 5 days. What's wrong with saying, okay, everybody goes through, instead of just waiting, you have to go see somebody else, and it has to be not just a law enforcement officer, but when they say the doctors get involved, they take our rights. They could disagree with anybody. It's not about that. It's about getting these people to wake the fuck up and say, they're not going to do this no more. It's sad. But we have to fight back too. We have a right to these firearms. We have a right to live in peace. We have a right to live our lives. Just because somebody else is a dumbass doesn't mean everybody's a dumbass. In categories, all firearms under American owners are dumbasses, right? They want to go out and just shoot everything up. We use these rifles to feed ourselves. And if you're on disability, they say take your disability because you own a firearm. Or because you like to hunt. Or because you have to do stuff for your own survival. I feel like everybody shouldn't have a right to do things in this country. And that's bullshit. The government does not want to listen to the people. And that's why they invented firearms. What's it going to take for it to stop? What? Canada, they ain't going to stop now. They figured, well, fuck it, we can just do whatever the hell we want. They've been doing this shit for years. And years. And everybody says, oh, well, let's have a patriot movement. Time and come and gone and past for that. Well, now it's time to stand up. Stand up. If you're a real American, which I know there's a lot of them out there, for one shot at freedom like what we used to have. One shot to tell our politicians no. But the NRA ain't doing that. This group over here ain't doing that. And anybody that says no, they're looked at like, well, what do we do now? Everybody says, well, we'll just do this and do that. You know how many times I've heard people, if there's a big emergency, I'll go run out into the woods. What's wrong with getting the information and stopping it before it ever has to get that far? You know how we stop it? By telling people when you go to vote, vote for what you think is right. Not for what everybody else thinks is right, what you think is right. Donald Trump is saying, oh, I'll do something. Bullshit. He had a chance. Joe Biden says, oh, I'll do something. Bullshit. He's got a chance now to really do something good. Help the little people. Who are the little people? Who are they? People like me and you and the rest of America. So I'm not that great to look at. I see that. I'm not the coolest dude on YouTube. I'm probably not even the best guy on YouTube, but I'm pissed off. Really fucking pissed off about it. I don't want to see a war in this country because that means that the innocent will die with everyone else, and they want that. For years, it's always been the mega wealthy can do anything. No. Everybody has the same chance as everyone else. But as soon as they get a corporation established here, they don't want to pay taxes, so go over to some foreign country. Give you an example. Marble Knife Company. They used to be made here in the U.S. All of a sudden, it's cheaper to go over to China. People don't want to pay Americans anymore. They think that we're spoiled and we're rich. It's not about that. It's about our rights as people. Everything costs. You got to have oil to make everything. And these dumbasses are saying, well, we don't need that. Electric cars and this and that. We've been running since the turn of the century trying to figure out new ways to invent the wheel again. What we really need is people that want to care, do what's right. You know, for years I've been living homeless. I've lived without. I've lived here. I've lived there. I've done this. I've done that. And I've seen no changes. No changes. When do we change it? We can if we all fight for what's right. Fight for all people's rights. My First Amendment is to say what I want to say and not be censored and said, well, it's bad because everybody's got a voice on YouTube. Well, they're putting their voices out and they're saying Civil War, Civil War, Civil War. That's all you ever hear. What's wrong with hearing about peace and love one another? Our whole country says, oh, it's okay. It ain't okay. When? When? When do you wake up and say that's enough? You know, you look around and you look at the movie stars. They're all passing away and they're saying, oh, look how great they were. Only because people know them. When you die, just the average Joe, you're forgotten about a couple years later. Oh, I don't know who that guy was. There's lots of great heroes in history that are forgotten about. Forgotten about. Because they weren't that important then, but they are important now. We always have black people saying, I got more rights than everybody else. No, you don't. You're just a person like we are. We're not racist. We don't hate you. I don't hate no black person. But my rights are no better than his rights. And so forth. It's like the Native Americans of Montana. Do you think that their rights are any more important than my rights? No. But, you know, if everybody wants to say what they did wrong, our government never does what's right. Unless we hold them to the standard. Do for America first. Do what's right. This ain't a manifesto. This ain't a guy up here just talking shit out his ass. I love my country. And I would die for this country. But I'm afraid of what my government's going to do to make you have to go kill people for no reason. Oh, they're just an enemy. Well, what makes somebody an enemy of this country to begin with? Because some president gets on TV and says, well, they're a bad fucking thing? You know what? Thousands of people are going to die. Because we can't get our shit together and say no. What the hell is going on here? All the curfews in the big city. Next thing you know, they'll be saying martial law in the big cities. What the hell? Martial law means suspensions of your rights and constitutional rights to do what you want to do. Back in my dad's day when he went to war over there in Vietnam, seen people die. And for what? For what? I asked him, for what, Dad? And he said, well, somebody else's freedom. And I said, well, whose freedom? Well, we were trying to help people and we just couldn't do that. Because you can't know who the enemy is. Well, who's the enemy here? Is it people with no heart and no backbone to say they're not going to put up with this no more? Government, Mr. Trudeau of Canada says, what do you expect me to do? I expect you to do what's right for Canada. Not yourself. When the hell have you ever done anything right for anyone else, Mr. Trudeau? People in Canada have a right to these things. They have a right to protect their families. They have a right to hunt. They have a right to fish. They have a right to self-defense. You know, you guys must have forgot about all the stabbings that happened just last year. Them two guys that went around and stabbed everybody. Dude, what did the police do? Oh, they get there after it's too late and say, too bad. Imagine if someone would have had a firearm. They would have been able to stop it. It's sad. We have to change our society, folks. I love Montana. I love every part of our country, but I don't like what our politicians are doing to ruin the states that once were good. And a lot of places were good at one time, not anymore. Who wants to live in California now? Everybody's homeless in California, but they don't want to put up little homeless shelters or put up something in place so they can get it managed to get these people help. And when you know what they're doing, they're out there pimping on the streets or they're out there hustling. And a lot of people say, well, we ain't got no choice. Yes, you do. Stand up. Stand up. Be recognized that this is a problem and we're going to have to deal with it. We got homeless people going into other people's houses and their yards and disrespecting people. It was never like this at one time. And you know why we have homeless people now? Because rich people say, well, we don't want to do nothing about it. What's wrong with building like little mini shelters, putting thousands and thousands of homeless people up, get them off the streets where they're not seen or bothering people, where they can get a good night's rest and try to get them jobs or get them industry or helping them. But you know what they're going to do? Illegals come first. No. No more illegals in our country. What have they ever done for you or for me or anybody? What have they done? Everybody says, well, we know about it. Transfer them up here by the busloads, and what are they going to do? They get 15 illegals on a job that was supplied for a construction guy, and he's trying to feed his family or make a living, and the illegals will do it for $10. They'll go around and take any jobs they can get, and you know what Americans do? Hey, we need that job too. Hey, I got a family to feed. Hey, I got bills to pay. Hey, I've got problems that I've got to deal with. I got fuel in my truck to pay for. What's Joe Biden doing? Saying, that's all right. We need to stop all this shit. You go down by the border of Texas and everybody wants you to speak Spanish, not English. Who in the hell do they think they are? They don't own this country. We kicked their ass. We kicked their ass out of their country and we said, don't come back. And now that they've screwed up their country and their economies and their way of life, they got to come to us? Nobody wants to talk about what the facts are. The facts are this. This is my country. And I got to live here with a lot of the bullshit that people pull on it. A lot of people say, well, I've seen people die. Really? It's a horrible, horrible fucking thing. I've seen more people shot in a week in L.A., all the big cities, because people can't leave other people alone. Or people have no respect for life. None. You know how you give somebody respect for life? You show them that you're going to die if you do this. And they should be executed. You know what? Think about the guy in Idaho right now. Went and killed 4 fucking people for what? For people to stand around and say it's okay? He should be executed. If it was my little girl or your little girl or somebody you loved, wouldn't you want justice? So he never can do this ever again to anyone else? Hell, let's just lock up serial killers and just say it's okay. If it's your family, it's a different deal. Nancy Pelosi probably stepped down out of Congress because she got scared and said, hey, I got to go take care of my family. Her husband got attacked, huh? Why? Because Nancy Pelosi is crooked. She doesn't want the views of the American people. She's not listening. Joe Biden isn't listening either. Donald Trump isn't listening. If you wanted to win the election, Donald Trump, then you're going to have to say, I stand with the patriots. I stand with armed people. I stand for what America should be. Not what it's not. We're not a bunch of unarmed sissies running around saying, hey, we want to kill people. Nobody wants to do that shit unless they have real mental problems. And we have too many people that have real mental problems with guns. So how do you stop it? What do you think, the police department can just show up and say, oh, crime's been committed, oh well, just someone's life? What if it was your family? What are you going to do? But we have illegals now. They can come in and just do all kinds of crime. Everybody from Mexico, come on in. Let's just do crime and then run across the border and like it never happened. It's bullshit. You shoot somebody in this country, you get the same thing. If they live, then you should get a life sentence. If they die, you die. No questions asked. No appeal to pity. How do you get somebody to care about life? So many lives are wasted and forgotten about, huh? That's what brings me to the next subject. Our homeless people in this country. Thousands and thousands and thousands of homeless people in this country. What do they get? Tell you what they got. Nothing. 90% of them are veterans. People on Social Security. People just trying to make it through their next paycheck. What about the housing? If you have housing, you don't have homelessness anymore. But you got to have shelters robbing the state. You got to have people not being held accountable. Rich ass bastards that sit up in these shelters and say, I'm making money. I love Jesus. Well, you know, I love the Lord too, but that doesn't mean that I got to make money off of it. And then they say, well, we shouldn't be taxed. You should be taxed. No exceptions. No. Well, we're part of a non-tax thing. Well, you know what are you doing for the people? You say you love the Lord. What are you doing for anybody that needs help? Are you building Are you building shelters for people to actually live in? Little places and communities that need to change? Or are you sitting there taking money? Writing grants like they do at the Share. Share program with Seattle, Washington. Scott Morrill, corrupt son of a bitch. Everybody knows what he was doing. And he wanted to spread that all throughout the country. Just write more and more things for us and nothing for the homeless people. How many homeless lives do you think that guy's fucked up? No accountability. We need accountability, Joe Biden, to help the homeless people. People ain't doing what they're supposed to be doing. Hey, you know, on a lot of homeless shelters, oh, you only get a couple weeks. No, that's not. You can't stop homelessness in a couple weeks for a person without a home. Anybody with a brain should know that. But waking people up at 5:30 in the morning, tell them, hey, you got to be out of here. You got to go do chores. You got to be up and motivated to do things. Wait a minute. What's wrong with letting people get a few extra hours of sleep? Nobody should be up before 9 o'clock. No businesses are open up at 3:30 in the morning that I know of. But you got to be out on the street, so it's got to be hard. I lived in a tent and I worked in a job up there in Seattle, Washington. Horrible. Druggies, pimps, whores. Seeing people do things that are unhuman. Why? It's sad. This is America. Why can't we make it be the best it can be? I ask everybody, what is the problem? Why take my rights because you can't figure out how in the hell to deal with the problem? You know, I could pull up a handgun and I could scream at that gun all day and tell it to kill somebody. Never kills somebody, it's the operator. And Mr. Trudeau doesn't understand that. Takes away somebody's right to hunt, to fish, to live their life in peace. Take away the handguns, oh, that'll just stop all the violence, right? Take away the rifles, what does that make you, a dictator? Is that what the people of Canada want, is a dictator? Why won't they stand up and say, no, you're not going to do this. You're going to give back all the guns that you've taken? You're going to give us back all the rights that we deserve. And we're going to keep a free and honest Canada. But they don't want to do that. Because they want you to be a slave to them. Do what we say, or we'll do this. The other thing is everybody wants to go to different currencies now. Everything online currencies. Bill everybody more taxes. Blame everybody for everything and say, oh, it's not us. Well, then who's doing it? Sure as hell isn't me. I'm just a little guy trying to make a living. I'm just a little guy trying to figure out what I'm going to do every day, how I'm going to eat, how I'm going to survive. And what has Joe Biden done? What? How's he helped anybody? So I ask you, when you go to vote this year, vote what your heart tells you is right. Donald Trump wanted to win the election, and he said it was stolen. Too many things are questionable. But is Donald Trump going to make America great again if he gets in there by lying? Is Joe Biden going to do any better? Or do we need people in there that want us to represent us as Americans? Think about it for a minute. What do you really stand for? What do you believe in? All right, that's enough of this for today. Today is January 2nd, 2023. Think about what I'm saying. Thank you and have a good day.
Time to like and subscribe to